It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
So, folks, she was Miss Hawaiian Tropic of New York and New Jersey. She also may have been responsible for Barack Obama becoming president in 2008. Her name is Lee Ettinger, and she is from northeastern Pennsylvania, and she is the guest on the Sam Lesante Show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sam Lesante. Well, Amber, it's so nice to have you on my show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You have an exciting career, and you're such a young person, okay? And what I thought we would do today is talk about Lee Ettinger and how what your vision was and all the things you've experienced, because certainly you've been around a lot. And we were, in fact, with you a couple of years ago in Las Vegas when we went to the NAPTI show. And there you were making a presentation. It was so nice to see a hometown girl there. Let's talk about you in high school. What were your thoughts in high school, and what did you want to do?
Well, I think it was even before high school. I was around 12 years old. I had my whole life set before me. Like, I knew I wanted to be in entertainment, whether it be singing, dancing, acting. I knew I wanted to model, and I knew I wanted to be a fashion designer of some sort. And I had my eyes set on the prize since a very young age. As a little girl, I was always sketching in my notebooks, and I had all sorts of design tools and toys that I played with. And I was always singing and dancing and putting on shows for my family. So I just knew from a very, very young age that that's what I wanted.
So you graduated?
Yes.
And then where did you go?
Oh, I graduated, and then I attended the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. And while I was there, I was really just focused on the fashion part. I wanted to get my degree and make sure I had that, and then kind of focus on the acting. But while I was at school in New York, I started getting really approached for modeling jobs. And next thing you know, I had an agency, and next thing you know, I was trying to juggle both school and modeling, and then things just kind of started taking off.
Tell me about, we always hear about people going to, you went to a fine place, first of all, who is well rated in the country. Going to New York, I guess you just hit New York. It was no problem for you, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I moved there when I was 17. I graduated a little younger, and I was just full force. I loved every part of it. I remember the first day, my parents dropped me off, and I was so sad as soon as they left. I was like really, really sad. But then the next day, I'm like, this is awesome.
So much for Roseanne and Terry, huh?
No,
okay.
But I just really got so used to it, like, so quickly. I made a nice group of friends that first day of school, actually in line when I was standing with my mom and dad. But yeah, I just kind of fit in right away. I knew New York was for me.
Well, in school, you wanted to be, you were fashioned to become a model, okay?
No.
You didn't want to be a model.
Well, yes, but in school I specialized in fashion design, and then my specialization was intimate apparel. I wanted to design lingerie and swimsuits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting, because from that you were approached to do some modeling, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Now, when you're doing modeling, you have to be a certain, you're not a real tall girl.
No,
okay?
I'm not.
Yeah, and I like you because you're my height, okay? Very seldom we find people my height. People think I'm 6'4".
I know, I did too. I was like, wow.
Is he such a short, handsome guy?
He's so handsome.
Okay.
That's the first thing I said.
Thank you, you're saying the right things. Yeah, I hear my son laughing back there. But when you modeling, okay, so you sort of like broke the mold here, because people are looking for tall, skinny girls that are malnutritious or whatever.
Yeah, like Kate Moss was one of the shortest supermodels. She was 5'6". Now I'm almost there, but she really broke the mold. Kate Moss is an icon in the fashion industry. But I was actually kind of not setting my sights on full-time supermodel modeling and runway stuff, but I knew there was a market for me in commercial print and swimsuit and lingerie stuff, and that's right where I fit in.
What was your first modeling job?
Ooh, my mom's book. My mom wrote a book about 60s fashion, and that was my first real job. We had a New York photographer, makeup, she stylized everything. Psychedelic Chic was the name of the book. I was about 15 or 16. Oh my gosh, was that fun. Mm-hmm. And then we did part 2 a few years later, so. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to talk about your jewelry, but you inspired your mom, and she's doing very well with it. But when you took your first modeling job, okay, then how did things start evolving? So you had the first modeling job, and then you took on an agency, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and I would assume anyone who's going to do anything has to take on an agency. Now, I've been approached many times when I had Spotlight Talent Showcase. tremendous amount of talent in Northeastern Pennsylvania. And everyone would come up and say, how do we get my daughter here or my son here? He wants to do this. She was a singer. She's a dancer, etc. And I would always say, get a reputable agency, okay?
Yes.
That's the most important. It's a reputable agency. What advice do you give to people that are looking for whether they want to go into entertainment or modeling? How did you find a reputable agency? Or was it a reputable agency?
Yeah, I got lucky. There's this book called The Ross Reports that you could get at bookstores and acting bookstores and stuff.
What report?
The Ross Reports.
The Ross Report.
And it tells you all the agencies in New York and LA and in some cities in between, and they're all reputable. Like anything in that book, you could trust. It's hard now with online and people just making companies and saying I'm an agent, but if you really want to do the work, obviously you look in the Better Business Bureau and all that stuff. But the Ross Reports is like a great tool for people to check out to see if the agency is good.
So that's who you went? Who did you go with?
Yes. Well, so the Ross Reports was the book, and then I did a self-submission, which is I went to a reputable photographer, paid to get pictures done, then printed them out, and then sent them to all the agents in New York.
And you said something about reputable. You're a young, very attractive girl.
Thank
you. And so when you go into New York City, boy, the foxes come out, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to be very careful because you are a young, very attractive girl. And how were you able to manage, keeping the straight and narrow without having them tear you apart, so to speak?
Well, first, there is a lot of weirdo people out there.
Not New York.
No,
Yeah.
but the first scam I came across in New York was I got approached on the street. The guy or girl, I forget who it was, handed me a card, and this happened multiple times. Went to meet with them at their office. They had modeling pictures hanging. But the first thing they do is they ask you for money to join their agency. Right there, that's a huge red flag. You should never have to pay to join the agency. The agency works for you, and they make commission off of what you book for them. So you should never go into an agency and have them offer you money. That's right there, red flag.
And then, so you were able to decipher and then get an agency?
Yes.
All right, so then the agency takes you then and puts you in, what kind of modeling did you do?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. I've modeled for everything from Tommy Hilfiger to stock photography to shoe catalogs. I was the foot model. My first billboard was in my first and only billboard was in Times Square, and it's just my legs, my feet, and a chihuahua. And when I finally saw it the day it was up, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And I was actually driving home to Pennsylvania.
Didn't see your face.
Yeah, you didn't see my face, but I'm so mad at myself for not going back and taking a picture with my billboard in Times Square. How did I let that go?
Did they have your name up there?
No, it was for an Oxygen show.
Okay.
So I've done everything across the board for lingerie catalogs, Eugenia swimwear, Hawaiian Tropic, so many different jobs. It's
So
just
Miss
so fun.
Hawaiian Tropic of New York
Yeah.
and New Jersey, how did that come about?
That came about by doing swimsuit modeling, and then what happens is you kind of have to audition for that, and then you get chosen to go to the pageant, and then when you go to the pageant, you compete against other models, and then you either win or you don't, and then when you win, you go to Hawaii for the national competition.
So you won?
I did win,
Okay.
yes.
And this all started when you started doing different modeling things, so people saw you.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a key person that is your manager that you deal with, or is it you and your family that are doing most of the booking and the direction you're taking?
Well, in New York, you could freelance with different agencies, and that's what I did. Now, in LA, you can really only kind of have one, and you're exclusive to them.
When I come back after the break,
Okay.
I want to find out, when you're modeling, there are certain things that you have to look right. You have to have the right makeup. You have to have the right size. You have to do the correct exercising. You have to look all these because when you're out in public, there's Amber Lee, and you have to always be. You're always on stage, so to speak. Okay.
Yes.
So we have to know: are there any tricks that you do to keep yourself, looking the way you should? Folks, I'm talking to Amber Lee Ettinger, and she is very much involved. When you come back, you're going to be amazed of everything she's involved with. And I know what you're saying. I mentioned in the beginning about Barack Obama. Just think about this. In 2007, his visibility or his recognizable name was maybe about 11%. Then this thing happened called the Obama girl. We happen to have her sitting next to me. So we'll be back right after this. Thanks for staying with us, folks. I'm Sam Lesante. Don't forget 24/7 SSPTV.com to see any of our shows. All of the Sam Lesante shows are there. Folks, Amber Lee Ettinger. Amber Lee Ettinger is an American actress and a model best known as Obama Girl in her role on online video I Got a Crush on Obama. This is referring to 2008 presidential election. Now, sometimes someone has to get a kickstart, okay?
Yes.
And then Jack Palance always used to tell me, Sammy, I could bring you in the kitchen. I could, introduce you to them. It's up to you to go into, have them invite you to come into their living room and their, rec room, etc. Now, this sort of was a kickstart for you to start, but then you start evolving on your own. Let's go back to the kickstart of how this thing with Obama came about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was super busy doing a lot of the modeling stuff, traveling around the world and modeling, and that was super fun. And then one day I was in Barcelona, and I got an email from a guy named Ben Rellis who had seen some stuff that I had done online, modeling or whatever the case was at the time. And he asked me, are you interested in working on this funny project? And I was like, well, thanks, but no thanks. I'm not going to be around. He's like, when you get back, let's meet for coffee and talk. So that's what we did. And he pitched me the idea for Crush on Obama, and I thought it was hilarious. He said, I just need you to kind of lip sync and dance and just act fun and crazy. And I was like, this reminds me of Saturday Night Live. I'll do it. He's like, maybe a news station or two is gonna pick it up. That's what he said to me. So I'm like, okay. We shot it a few weeks later. It took 6 hours. He hired the cameraman and director 2 hours before on Craigslist. He was gonna shoot it himself. And we shot it. I didn't touch up my hair. I didn't touch up my makeup. I didn't think twice about really what I was doing. I just had fun. The video came out a few weeks later, and my house phone went bananas, blowing off the, ringing off the hook, every news station across the United States, and the video just blew up. And it's so surreal to me that I still don't believe that was me and I lived that whole thing. Like, it's crazy.
But that was an opportunity for, what happened was that, you start bringing visibility, okay, to Barack Obama.
Yes.
But you were on Saturday Night Live, Obama, you were an MTV pilot, you were in Rally Factor, at large, Geraldo Rivera. This is what...
Sean Hannity. Mike Huckabee.
Yeah, I mean, so...
Al Jazeera.
Yeah, I mean, so they had you on, and so what were they amazed with? I mean, did they feel that you were the spokesman or promoting Obama? Why would Sean Hannity want to have you on his show?
Well, first, everyone wanted to know, who is this girl?
Yes.
Why is she singing and dancing about Obama? Did someone set her up to do this?
Right.
Did they set her up to promote him positively, or did they do this to sabotage his campaign? It was like two sides. There was like two sides to the whole story. And I constantly told the story, but it was still questioned daily. And it's still questioned to this day. Why did you do it? Why did you do it? I did it because it was political satire and it was fun. That's why I did it. The positive thing that happened was that I got young people to get involved. Based off YouTube, 25 million people seeing it, young people got interested in politics. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's what happened, and that was the most rewarding thing for me.
But at that time, remember I said, we'll open a door for you, I'll get you in the kitchen.
Yes.
Now, the exciting thing happens is they begin to know who Amber Lee Ettinger is.
Yes.
Okay? And so what happened then as you start getting more, and they start seeing you as a model, as an actress to a degree, okay, and then you start evolving, okay? Let's talk about now what happened after that. What were some of the things that, expanded your career?
Well, for the whole campaign, I was extremely busy up until the day he got elected. Once he got elected, I didn't know if Barely Political, which is the YouTube channel that we put it on, was going to continue making Obama Girl videos, or we were going to kind of just chill out. We ended up chilling out on it, and I was able to focus on my career in a different aspect. I did start trying to really focus on the hosting and doing a lot of commercials and stuff. Doors were open for me. I was able to co-host a show called Naughty But Nice on HDNet. I worked on a ton of commercials, a lot more modeling jobs. But at the same time, it's like, just because 25 million people saw me in a YouTube video, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to get into a movie and have a role that easy. Like, perseverance and hard work, I've had many doors shut right on me. Like, it's not that easy. I still really had to pound the pavement to try to keep it going. It did help with my jewelry line. definitely a lot of doors open, but there's some doors that close too.
Well, speaking of jewelry line, when we come back to the break, we're going to show some of the jewelry that you inspired. Your mom is selling, but in marketing, it's a fabulous line.
Thank you.
But you know, when you're in Hollywood, when I was there working with Jack, and we had this discussion last night, sometimes you have to have substance, but sometimes it's who you know, okay, versus what you know. All right. So, and then, if you know someone and you'll get in the door, then you have to have that substance, okay? And I think that's what's happening with you, right? Now, I alluded to prior to the break about keeping yourself, you know, in good condition, always looking good. What are some of the tricks? So some of the, you know, the young girls out there would say, look, how do I look, you know, good when I'm going out? What are some of those little tricks you want to share with me? We won't tell anybody, just you and I.
No, that's okay. I've really, since moving to California, I've really gotten into yoga. And I don't know if that sounds cliche, but that's been a great thing for stress relief. You know, my job isn't as glamorous as it seems. It's very stressful. I have to be a businesswoman at all times, and I'm constantly working and searching for the next thing. Yoga is definitely good for overall mind and body health. And then I just try to eat really good. But as far as staying, you know, hair and makeup ready all the time, when I'm not working, I am in the relax mode. No hair. I mean, yeah, hair in a bun, no makeup. You know, yoga pants on, like I can't be on all the time. I really need to relax and just take a break.
But now you're doing the thing that Jack Palance always recommended to people. Okay, every time, so how did my son get in acting? How's my daughter? He always would say this: go to acting school.
Yes.
And that's where you are right now,
Yes.
correct?
And I love it. I love it. I go almost 7 days a week. I'm in all different classes, from voice to scene study to script analysis. And it is the best thing to do. Improv also is amazing as an actor. To do improv, you kind of just lose that wall that you put up when you're afraid to act a certain way. You just lose that completely. So it's so great for your career to be in school. You have to constantly keep learning.
Now, since you've been, you know, you've done some commercials, which we've seen you on. One was a deodorant commercial. Remember that one?
That was a funny one.
That was a funny, yeah. And then we pop you here and there. And so some of the things that you've been involved with, and that some of the things that you are now currently involved with. You said you had a couple pilots that you're working on.
I'm working on 3 pilots right now I'm really excited about. One is a talk show. One is an extreme sports show that I might be hosting. And then there's another one that I can't talk about. Okay. I just shot an NBA commercial, which was pretty cool. And there's just constant stuff happening. I'm going to be on a game show. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you're gonna be on a game show.
And I was a judge on another show called Viral Video Showdown. So that's the thing I love about my job. I'm constantly doing different stuff.
Okay. Now, Lee Ettinger is going through the forest, and she sees Aladdin's lamp, and she rubs it, and the genie appears, and says to Lee, listen, I could only grant you one wish, and only one wish. Then I got to get back in this bottle, okay? But the wish is going to be, I will let you, whatever you want to be, you have to name your career, and that's what you're going to be, okay? What do you ask the genie?
Okay, I want to be the lead in an action film.
Okay, so that's what you're looking to be.
Yes.
You want to be a lead
I'm
in
an action star in training.
Okay. Let me write that down so when she sees the genie. So you want to be the lead in an action film. Okay.
I love that stuff. That's right up my alley.
And it will probably happen. So when we come back, folks, we're going to show you some of the things that she's inspired by. A little bit about Amber Lee, born and raised in northeastern Pennsylvania, correct? Daughter of Terry and Roseanne Redino Ettinger. And you have brothers and sisters, of course.
Yes, a brother, 2 sisters.
Yes, yeah. And they're beautiful people.
Thank you.
They take after your mom, I think, right?
Yep, they do.
Dad's
and my dad.
Oh, yeah, you have to throw daddy in.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Once again, thank you for all those viewers we have in the greater Harrisburg area and also in the Allentown area. We appreciate the nice comments. My email is sam@ssptv.com, and remember, all of our shows are on ssptv.com, the Sam Lesante Show. My guest today, Amber Lee Ettinger. She's been, as you know, the Obama girl, but since then has done a lot. She's, she's been radio, theater, internet, television, and acting and producing. Now, the thing is this, you've been around 5-6 years, you're a young girl, and now you're producing. How does that fit in? You need some experience here, okay? So how do you get producing here?
Well, you have to be the jack of all trades nowadays. You can't sit around and wait for other people to make a job for you. You have to make them yourself. So I started a channel called 2 Girls, 2 Minutes on YouTube, and I started it a while ago and then took a break from it, and now I'm doing it again. I have a new partner co-host her name is Andrea Fechko, and so now we're writing and producing sketch comedy and having like an entertainment show. So it's half sketch comedy, half entertainment where we have guests and we drink wine, and it's so fun.
Okay, so you do sleep, right?
I take power naps.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have some jewelry here, okay? And, you know, as I told you, I enjoy going shopping with my wife, and we
Which
have...
is awesome.
I really love it. I really do. I always, you know, like creative things. How did this inspired by Amber jewelry develop?
Well, my mom, who is amazing and my biggest inspiration my whole life across the board, she started the line when I was 3 years old in Kentucky. She sold it at a department store, was shocked that they bought it, and next thing you know, I was at the dining room table with her helping her pick out beads. So clearly she named it after me because I inspired her and she inspired me. She then took a break from it, started writing books and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, her store and everything. And when I graduated college, I wanted to restart this with her because I knew she'd always be my dream partner, and that's exactly what she is. I always wanted to work with her, and this is like our love collection. Like, we love doing this. Everything's handmade, one of a kind, vintage and new, reconstructed, eco-friendly. Amazing. I'm so happy about it. It just makes me so happy.
The interesting thing, women, of course, is one of a kind.
Yes,
You know, and the
yes.
fact that now you're wearing...
I'm wearing a piece right now.
Which is
This is like one of the first pieces we ever designed.
Yeah. They're amazing, and I'm not saying that because you're on the show, but
Thank
you
you.
also were on the show, The Girls, you know,
Yes.
with my wife, and they all had your jewelry.
Looking stunning.
Yeah, and when you look at the pieces, they're so well put together, and they look great, and they don't jump at you, but they're there, they're classy. You know, they make a statement. It's
They
like,
make a statement,
yeah.
definitely. If you wear this somewhere, someone's definitely going to talk about it and compliment you. That's for sure. They're statement necklaces.
Now, folks, for those of you who want to know how to get involved with or take a look at the jewelry, the website is inspiredbyamber.com, and you can see all this stuff. Roseanne, your mom I could do a show with your mom. In fact, we were going to do a show with your mom with her books, all the books that she wrote, okay?
Yes, like 16,
But
I
she
think.
wants like $50,000 for an appearance.
I know.
Right,
no,
Roseanne?
she doesn't.
And she said, give me $50,000 or I'm not going to talk to you. So I got Amber, okay? I got Amber instead of Roseanne. But she's very talented, okay?
She's amazing.
She really is. Getting back to you, now you said, you know, we saw the genie, and you said to the genie, I want to be a star in an action-packed movie, okay?
Yes.
Now, you've done some movies, correct?
Yes.
All right. And what are some of the movies you've done? And are you working on some additional movies?
Well, I just finished a movie called An American in Hollywood, and it's going to be submitted to the film festival, so I'm excited about that. And I've done a few roles in some short films, and I've kind of been working on focusing on that and commercials and TV stuff.
All right. Now, of all the celebrities you've met, I've told you how many people I met when I did the show with Jack Palance. You know,
Yeah.
the Rob De Niro's, the Martin Landau's, the Telly Savalas's, the Sean Youngs, you name it. Other than me, you know, that you're excited about meeting
Yes.
me. Who is like stands out as the person that you know, as a personality?
Let's see. When I met Denzel Washington, that was pretty awesome. He's one of my favorite actors. Meeting Donald Trump was really cool.
How is Donald Trump as a person?
He was cool when I met him.
Yeah.
I like him. I like to watch him on The Apprentice. I know some people he's not very favorable.
No, but I mean, there's people you meet that people don't know, they don't see, you know,
yeah.
for example.
It was at an event, and I was actually shocked at how tall he was.
Mm-hmm.
He's much taller than I thought. Because on TV, for some reason, he doesn't look that tall. I don't know why, but
was he cordial?
Yes, he was very nice. He was very nice. I think hands down, besides you, the best.
I love you.
The best person that interviewed me and I've met has been Mike Huckabee.
Yeah.
He's very near and dear to my heart. He's such a wonderful guy. So I'll give him the award for like the nicest guy I've ever met.
Good.
Besides you, of course.
Well, I understand that. But no, I've never met Mike Huckabee, but he has a good show. I mean, it's political, of course.
Yes.
Sean Hannity, you met Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And then Howard Stern, did you meet him?
Yeah.
Now, is he a wacko or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's so wacko, but his counterparts, all the guys that he has in the office are much wackier than he is.
Yeah.
But I remember growing up, my dad was always listening to Howard Stern. So when I finally got to meet him, I was like, this is crazy.
Well, was he very vulgar with you?
He wasn't. One of his guys was a little vulgar and was trying to offer money. It was so weird, but that's their little shtick that they do. So I wasn't. I didn't take it serious.
You didn't take okay. So, but I mean, hey, listen. He, you know, he certainly has a talent. He didn't get where he got because he doesn't have a talent.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on in your acting, and you're now in California, but you're going back and forth to California and New York, correct?
Yes.
All right, advice for young people, young girls out there, are you know, that are interested in getting in it. Okay, tell them what the typical day is for you, because everybody looks at it and say, "Oh, it's all glamour." Okay, I think it's far from being all glamour, isn't it?
It is so far from being all glamour. Oh my gosh! I mean, it is exciting once it's all done and you're like walking a red carpet and you're in your hair and makeup and your beautiful dress and stuff. But to get to that level and to get there is so much work. But
So what do you recommend? What should they have? What should they be
you
prepared for?
You have to have a good business sense for this. You can't just sit back and hope that you have an agent that calls you for a job. You have to make work happen for yourself. This is a business. Every day needs to be devoted to finding work, building your website, getting new pictures, updating your resume, submitting yourself to castings, being a good person. Like, you know, there's just a lot involved, and you just can't be lazy
Some people
about
that
it.
when they see, you know, your pictures, okay, they may consider them a little sexy, okay, but you've always maintained a fine line, okay, and I think that's important, you know, because knowing the character, who you are,
Yes.
and the family you come back, sometimes people get to some wrong distortions about Amber Lee.
Definitely. I mean, I think if you're out there and online modeling for swimsuits and lingerie, people just automatically assume,
Yeah, she's bad.
yeah, or something. But you know what? It's not. People are on beaches every day in bikinis. You know what I mean? And I love lingerie. I want to design it and have my own line of pajamas and lingerie. Like, it's not bad. You have to. There is that fine line, but you know.
Well, I consider you as a very classy person.
Thank you.
Okay, and
Thanks.
my wife and my daughter and the whole family, you know, not only knowing your mom, you know, the Rodino family, but knowing who you are and, you know, the substance you carry. We always wish you the best, okay?
Thank
And
you.
I think you got your head on your shoulders, and that's important. And I think a lot of people are very proud of you, and we're hoping that you are an ultra success. Because I think you send a good message out to a lot of people. Amber, it's been a pleasure interviewing you.
Thank you so much.
Amber Lee Ettinger, folks, you go to her Facebook.com. It's facebook.com/Amber Lee Online. And the jewelry, you got to go to that one, inspiredbyamber.com. It's fantastic, folks. We'll see you next time on the Sam Lesante Show.